Awesome. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome. Thank you for being here with us tonight for our fourth and final summer wellness series. This has been so fun for us. This was new for Mackenzie and I. We've never done this before, but we think it was just a really nice way to, get through the summer and focus on health a little bit. I can't believe it's August already. We still have some summer left, so we can keep practicing the things we've learned throughout this summer series. But I know you have all who are here live today, you've all been here before, but for anyone listening to this recording later on, I will just start by introducing myself. I'm Emily Zorn. I'm a registered dietitian and health coach. And Mackenzie, you could go ahead and introduce yourself as well.
I'm Mackenzie Watts, and I'm a certified life purpose and mindset coach.
Awesome. Okay, so yes, this has been, like I said, it's been so great going through this journey with all of you. As you know, we've been switching on and off doing mindset one week and nutrition the other week. So today is a nutrition one. And we're going to be talking about finding balance and the 80-20 rule and what that looks like and what it can look like in your own life. But before we get into that, since, I know we've been on this journey together 4 weeks. It's been awesome. I would just love to hear from a few of you, just your thoughts on what has been your biggest takeaway so far from this series. And you can feel free to come off mute and say it or just type it in the chat. But we have one more session, right? We have it tonight. But based on all the 2 mindset sessions and the 1 nutrition session, what's been your biggest takeaway? What are you going to take with you through the rest of the summer and rest of the year and beyond?
Trying to find the name in my notes, but I really appreciated learning about the scale. What is it, Emily? Why am I not? I'm flipping through my pages. I can't.
It was a while ago. The hunger and fullness scale.
Yes, the hunger and fullness scale, because going past, the idea that you just go to satisfied, I think is such a key thing to remember, because sometimes you're like, no, I won't take the other bite or the other whatever. But then you find yourself at 9 o'clock saying, okay, maybe I need some popcorn or a bite of ice cream. Whereas if I had satisfied myself earlier, I wouldn't need to be. So that was new to me, and something that I'm trying to apply, getting to the satisfied scale. Thank you for giving me the name.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I'm glad that was helpful. And yeah, I totally relate to that too. That was something, it takes some practice too. First we know it, understand it, recognize it, and then we can start practicing that and seeing how that fits into our lives. So thank you for sharing. Yeah, and then Jordan in the chat said, finding ways to make health fun, not a chore. Ooh, I love that. And I think that is the perfect combination of what Mackenzie talks about and what I talk about, like putting that all together, really incorporating balance and our mindset around food. Like, it doesn't have to be this chore. It actually can be fun. So I think that's wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And we'll have more time for reflection, right? I hope you all brought your notebooks and pens, because there's always reflection with these. So yeah, let's get into it. We have this last session together. So what to expect? You've all been here for our other sessions, but basically what we're going to do today is go over last week's commitment. I know I wasn't here, but Mackenzie filled me in on how everything went. So last week's commitment, talk about the topic this week. We'll do some reflection, have some time for Q&A, and then we'll all make one final commitment. We won't be together next Wednesday to talk about it and reflect on it, but I'm hoping that this is something that maybe you can continue on your own, setting aside some time and maybe focusing on one thing every week and reflecting back on it. So yeah, so grab your notebook and pen if you don't have it yet, but here are the commitment questions. So, and before we get into them, Mackenzie, do you want to give everyone just a quick refresher of what we talked about last week?
Yeah, last week we talked about the thought, emotion, action cycle. So how the narratives or the stories we're telling ourselves directly impact our action, how that's looked in the past, and then how that can look for you in the future. And then we also talked about the self-trust and the narratives and how that shows up for you as well.
Awesome. I wish I was here for that, but awesome. Okay, so for everyone who was here last week, let's just do some reflecting in your journal, and then we'll have time to share afterwards. So first question is, how did your commitment go this past week? Maybe it was on the thought, emotion, action cycle. Maybe you chose something from your initial list to focus on, but just doing some reflection on that and being really honest with yourself. Whatever you committed to last week or the week before, whenever you were last with us, how did it go? And then when you're done with that, the next question, and we'll leave these up here, so no need to rush. Take as much time as you need. Yeah, so the next two, well, we could do both. Yeah, what went well, excuse me, what went well, and what could you improve on? And then the last question with this, based on your answers, Mackenzie, when you are finished, Mackenzie's running the show today. Thank you. Is, do you want to keep with your commitment, or do you want to adjust or change it? So whatever you worked on the past week, does it feel about right, or do you want to put some different parameters on it? Was it serving you well, or do you want to change it at all moving forward? All right, so as we are all finishing up, no rush. Keep writing if it's flowing, but does anyone want to share their thoughts or answers to any of these questions, or just how your commitment went for you either this past week or throughout this entire time? So if anyone wants to share, can either come off mute, put it in the chat, but we always love hearing from you all, so it's not just us talking the whole time. It's a little more of a conversation. So if anyone has something that they're feeling compelled to share, now is a great time. All right, I wanted to give people time to type if you wanted to, but no big deal. If you don't want to share, totally fine. You have your own journal, and you know how your commitments have gone for yourself. So no worries at all. Let's get into our nutrition topic. Oh, we got one. Julianne, awesome. Okay. The overall, these summer sessions have helped me return to eating mindfully and with intent as opposed to snacking mindlessly. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, it's that mindfulness. That's why Mackenzie and I paired up, because it's such an integral part of this. We can know all the nutrition stuff in the world, but without mindfulness, we never really get that holistic help. So yeah, thank you for sharing, Julianne. Wonderful. Okay, let's get into it. So along with the hunger fullness scale, this is one of my favorite things to talk about, and that's because it's all about making nutrition and healthy eating fun. I don't know about all of you, but I see it everywhere. People telling you it's got to be black or white. Like, you are either all in juicing and only eating vegetables and chicken, or you're all out and you're going out to eat for every meal and eating fries and pizza, right? And that it's got to be one or the other. And if we want to be healthy, you got to eat healthy 100% of the time. So then we have this mindset and we go into the real world and find out that is impossible, right? If we're trying to enjoy life, food, I don't know about for all of you, but for me, food is a big part of that. Celebrations almost always have food, going out to eat. We can't be perfect and we don't have to. And that's what 80-20 and finding balance is all about. You truly can be healthy top to bottom and eat healthy only 80% of the time. This is where the magic happens. Because when we follow this rule, eating healthy 80% of the time, leaving 20% of the time for everyone else, we're able to get most of what we need with that, high nutrient value, all of that stuff, but we're also feeding our soul as well, right? So that makes you feel like you're not missing out on things. You're not craving any of those foods you see in the 20%. If at any time you say, oh, this food's off limits, I'm never allowed to eat that, that's a lot of the times when we say, oh, we can't stop thinking about it, and you just want to eat more and more and more of that specific food. But 80-20 is all about any food is allowed. There's truly no food that I ever tell a person you can never eat this, because like I said, that just makes everyone want it more. So to break it down, the 80-20 rule is saying that 80% of the time, we want to eat pretty healthy stuff. So if you look at the picture, it's what you would expect. It's fruits and vegetables and whole grains and lean meats, nuts, beans, all of that stuff. The really healthy, high nutrient value food, 80% of the time. That leaves 20% of the time for everything else, all that stuff you see at the bottom, whatever it is for you, whether it's chips or pizza, ice cream, wine, fries, whatever your thing is that you just love, that brings you joy, or that you like going out to happy hour with some friends once a week. There's no need to feel guilty for that. And I think that's a big piece of 80-20 as well, is that it takes the guilt out. Even if you have a whole day of eating 20% foods, maybe you wake up, you skip breakfast, you eat pizza for lunch, and you have fried chicken and fries and cookies for dinner. You don't have to feel bad about yourself, because you can just balance it out with 80% foods the rest of the week, right? That can be done. And there's no need to beat ourselves up for eating foods that are not as good for you as other foods. Everything truly does fit. It's just a matter of, how do I make this fit in my life? So for some people, I understand, they love having something sweet after dinner, and they do it every single day. And then they end the day feeling bad because, oh, I ate so well all day and then I had sugar and, oh, I'm so bad. If you think of it in the 80-20 mindset, if you eat the 80% foods throughout the day, that leaves room for that 20%, whatever it is, piece of cake or cookie at the end of the day. That's totally fine. You had a day that was 80-20. I also know that there are other people who maybe they would prefer to just have a full day once a week of, I don't like to call it a cheat day, because then that implies that we're on a diet. And as you know, we are not about, pushing diets at all. It's more about, okay, how can I just eat healthy and balance this out? But maybe that, oh, Saturday I'm going out with friends and we're going to go out to eat. And I know it's going to be a mostly 20% day. Totally fine. That's when you can make, that's coming. So you make pretty healthy choices leading up to that. And then you can have a day and it can be your 20% day. And it doesn't mean that you go all out and eat so much that, you feel sick. You still want to be practicing like the hunger fullness scale and all of that, but you don't have to make yourself feel bad if you're, I don't know, at a friend's house and all there is pizza and chips to eat. That's okay, because you tell yourself, I can balance this out. Next few days, easy, I can balance this out. So this is all like really great information. Oh, okay, like I'm allowed to eat the foods that I like. I just have to find out, which proportion works best for me. So let's do a little bit of reflecting on, okay, this is a great 80-20 rule, but what does that look like in my life? So on the next slide, I have some more questions for everyone. So grab your notebooks. Just a few questions. The first one we're going to start with is, how would finding balance change your relationship with food? So if you were to truly live your life in a way where 80% of the time you ate the healthy stuff, 20% was more of the treat foods, how would that change things for you regarding your relationship with food? All right. And then when you're ready, the next question, this is just kind of a fun one that I like to talk about, but what are your 20% foods or drinks? Because not everything on that graphic like speaks to everyone. I know we all have kind of our own things that we really love. For me, it's ice cream and chocolate and sweet stuff. For someone else, it might be a more savory, like I love eating chips every day. Whatever it is for you, just reflecting on what are my 20% foods and drinks. And then the last question in this section is, how can you implement the 80-20 rule into your own life in a way that makes sense for you? Are you a treat every day kind of person? Are you a save it for one day a week kind of person? What would this look like realistically in your life? All right. So now is a good time that we're just going to pause here, and I could take any questions on the 80-20 rule, on what it might look like in your life, or if anyone wants to share on what hit them here with the 80-20 rule, like how you might implement it in your life, what would work best, or if you just want to share what your 20% foods are, that's totally fine. But yeah, just want to open it up to the group now for any questions or shares on the 80-20 rule and your own life.
I'll just share how it's impacted me, because I hadn't heard of this until I started working with Emily, and I always felt guilty, like if I was having a bad food, like no matter what like mindset stuff I could come up with to like try and convince myself out of feeling guilty, like I always would have that underlying guilt, like even if I was convincing myself I wasn't, like it was fine. And I just feel like implementing this has given me the freedom to like convince myself without a doubt that it's okay to eat these foods, because I am eating healthy for the most part. So I just want to give like a kudos to this thing and like how it can actually like release all that guilt and just let you enjoy your life and like have those foods and not worry about it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that, Mackenzie. And yeah, I do always like to ask people, just raise of hands or raise for those of us not on video, raise a virtual hand. How many people experience guilt when eating any of those foods on the 20% graphic? I know I have in the past. Yeah, yes, I see some, yes, virtual hands. So yeah, this is just a really great way to get rid of that and know that if we're staying in these proportions, then you're healthy. Like there's a dietitian telling you, like you can still be healthy. We don't need to buy into this all or nothing stuff that we're told about all day long by every diet. Every diet's all or nothing, right? And we see it when you're all in, you see the results, and then it's not sustainable, so you stop, and then we go back to how we were before and we blame ourselves. Well, that wasn't us. It wasn't set up to be long term and sustainable. So that's why this is nice. There's some leeway. You can still be healthy and enjoy all your food. So great. All right. So like we always do, we're going to take what we learned today or whatever you need or want to focus on and make a commitment. So either based on this idea of 80-20, if anything came up for you, or anything really in the past month of us working together, if there is something that you still really would like to put some focus on, now would be the time to do it. And like I said earlier on, sad we won't all be together next Wednesday to reflect on it, but this is something you can do on your own. And that's always my goal with people, is that eventually all of these things that we do together, you can take and do on your own. So this is a good practice of that. So yeah, just take some time and think, what is it that I want to commit to? And since there's no time frame here, you can come up with your own time frame as well. Maybe it's not for the next week, maybe it's for the month of August. What's one thing I want to commit to and really focus on, either based on 80-20 or anything we talked about. And if you feel comfortable, you can post that in the chat. Putting it out there can make it seem a little more real, and then we're a little more likely to follow through with it. So yeah, like I always say with the commitments, making it specific, making it realistic, adding numbers is always good. So whatever that looks like for you. So I'll give everyone a minute or two to come up with your commitment and post it in the chat when you do. Oh, and I missed the chat comment from 10 minutes ago with feeding our soul. Yeah, I like that too, because food isn't just feeding our bodies, it's feeding our soul as well. So I like to say that. Jordan, continue movement 3 times per week, 45 minutes for the next month. Consider hunger scale before snacking. I love it. Exercise and nutrition. Such a winning combo. Okay, so as we are finishing up our commitments, we always ask about accountability as well. So think on this, and this is going to be an important one since we will all be together holding each other accountable from here on out. But what do you need to do to hold yourself accountable? What has worked over the past month for you? Or what is something that maybe you want to try out and see? to hold yourself accountable. Because at the end of the day, that's the key. When we can be the person there for ourselves and hold ourselves accountable to our commitments, that's where the magic happens. So just a quick reflection on this with your commitment this week or month or however long it is. What do you need to do to hold yourself accountable? All right. So just wanted to thank you all again so much for being here with us. It's been really fun seeing the faces week to week and spending part of our summer with you. And we just want to thank you for being here with us. And we've been mentioning this throughout, our entire series. But since this is our last time together, and I know many people in the initial sign up said, yeah, I'd be interested in potential group coaching, because that's what Mackenzie and I do. So we made a little slide for you, which is different than what we've done in the past, but this is just kind of explaining more about what it is we do and who it's really for, because this group, it's not for everyone, right? It's for people who, first off, it's people who are having a hard time finding balance with their health. As you can tell, like Mackenzie and I are all about balance. We spent a whole session today talking about balance. Really for people who are struggling with that all or nothing mindset, struggling with conflicting health info. Oh my gosh, there's so much out there that even with the best intentions, it can be hard to search and say, yeah, okay, I want to be healthy, but what do I do? Not really knowing how to take that first step. So really wanting to clear that up. You may be struggling with emotional or stress eating. That is a huge piece when it comes, to the mindset and finding healthy ways to cope with that. Struggling with confidence. I'll be honest, that's probably the number one thing that I get when people come to me and say, hey, I want to get healthy, or hey, I want to lose weight. If we dig a little deeper, it's almost always that confidence bit, confidence in themselves that they can make the right decisions to be healthy, and also the confidence that comes with the healthy choices. And then lastly is having an all or nothing mindset and perfectionism. So common. We see this so much. So because of all of these things that we've seen that are here on this list, we wanted to make a group for people who would be served by this in a very gentle approach. That's not a diet, that combines mindset and nutrition, which is fairly unique. And that's why Mackenzie and I wanted to get together and share this with the world. So it's called Balanced Mind, Balanced Body. And we're starting another group in a few weeks, August 22nd. I'm going to have Mackenzie come on and explain a little bit more about the details around it. And then I also want, at the end, I want to read out these chats, because I see a lot of really good ones coming in. So I want to do that. But Mackenzie, I'm going to hand this over to you. We'll open it up for questions, read the chats, and then we'll be on our way.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so it's an 8-week program is what we call it, right? So for 8 weeks, we have the support of the group. And what that means is we have a Facebook group where we're doing daily accountability check-ins. So some of you that are here have done groups with me and or Emily and I in the past. So you know that is super beneficial, right? When you have to check in with us every single day, and Emily and I do it with you too. And we say 8 weeks, but really it ends up being about 11 weeks. So almost 3 months, because you get a session with Emily and I at the beginning and at the end. So at the beginning, we're envisioning that version of you, and then we're creating a plan for you as far as what you can do to get there. And that includes a commitment as far as mindset and a nutrition commitment that you're following through with every single day for the first month. And then by that month, you've already built that habit. So that looks like whatever comes up for you. So We've had people do, 30 minutes of exercise every day. We've had people who are like, hey, I just need to eat more vegetables, so I'm going to eat 2 servings of vegetables a day. So Emily and I help you hone in on what will be the most impactful to you. And then after midway through the group, you've already established those habits. And then we reset. We're like, okay, what is it that will get you to even the next level? And then you're creating your habits. So we call that habit stacking. So every single day you're checking in on that. So you have the accountability. That's a really big thing with health, right? Is like making promises to ourselves and being able to keep them versus like it's a lot easier when you have other people that are counting on you or relying on you to come and share how your day went. So that's a huge component in it. And last week's lesson was on rebuilding self-trust. And that's why that component is important. And then we have another session with us at the end to be like, all right, here's where you're at. Not having the accountability of the group, what do you need to do to continue this moving forward? We really want, no matter what it is, even this thing, we want you to take it and be able to move forward with it. So that is a lot of it. And then it's alternating lessons, Emily and I, for 8 weeks, 45-minute sessions. So it's like this, but even more in depth with the things that we know are most impactful to people and getting them on track with having a sustainable and balanced view on health. And then we also have reflection worksheets and all sorts of other stuff that is available. So there's 2 options. There's the group, which we just explained, and then there's a group with an individual component. So if you're interested in individual coaching as well, you really thrive with, us being able to coach you and get into those narratives and get into what would be most influential to you, or you need that specific nutrition information just for you on an even deeper level, then that's an option. It's 4 sessions with Emily and I. So 2 with me and 2 with Emily that you can use anytime throughout the program. And then you have availability with us through text or email at all times, and then handouts and individualized things as they apply as well. So that one is $16.99, and then just the group is $1,099. So again, that ends up being about 11 weeks total. And then we shared last week and the week before, I think as well, but we decided to do, because it's still a couple of weeks, August 22nd is the first date. We're giving away a 60-minute session to anyone that signs up before this Sunday. So that's valued of $300. And we've done that in the past. And then those people that take advantage of that are set up coming into the group, like they've already had 2 to 3 weeks of them pulling through with the goal and getting set up. So it ends up being, almost 4 months of them with our assistance. So that's a big help to people that are like ready to get started and want a little bit more time with Emily and I. So that's kind of what it looks like. I'll hand it back to Em.
Awesome. So yeah, we love Balanced Mind, Balanced Body. We wanted to share it with you all because you have been with us all month, and we know that nutrition and health is important for you. So if this sounds like something you're interested in or want more information, reach out to us. You have our emails. We're happy to set up, a one-on-one Zoom with you and answer any questions, or just ask us questions through email. But I put in the chat, if you want to learn more, if you want to sign up, get that free session, do so before Sunday. And the link is right there. But yeah, I just wanted to close. I know we're a little bit over, so I'm not going to go through all of the chats that came in, but know that I did read them, and it just makes my heart so happy to hear from you all and see all the great things that you've been doing. It's really been such a pleasure working with you all this summer. So if we could just stay for one more minute, I'd love if everyone can go through. Mackenzie and I do this in our group coaching, but at the end, we always go through and say one word of how we're feeling right now. So I think that would be a nice way to wrap this up. If people have questions, Mackenzie and I will stay on after, but I don't want to hold people too much longer. So I'll go first, and then we'll all go through. You can either come off mute or type it in the chat, but a word for how I'm feeling right now is complete. We made it through the four sessions, so I think that's awesome. Lydia, inspired. Jordan, focused with an exclamation point. Let's go. I'm loving this. Augusta is excited. Juliana is recommitted. I I love it. Mackenzie, what's your word?
Yeah, I was thinking recommitted or like reset. Like Emily and I talk about these things all day, every day, but still like hearing it is like, okay, you guys, we're on the right track.
Yes.
Oh, I love Augusta. Hungry too. Same.
Yes. We'll let you get on to your dinner. But yeah, if anyone has questions, please email us, check out the website. We'd love to keep working with you all. You guys are great. So thank you all so much for being here this past month. It's been a pleasure, and keep in touch.
Thanks,
Excellent
guys.
work.
Have a good week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.